Fantastic. Welcome, everybody. Tonight is Tuesday, November 16th. It's about 7:34 p.m. Tonight is a planning and zoning general meeting and public hearing. Fred Donite and myself are here in Town Hall in room 213, and Jeremy Ginsburg will be here when he gets here. He's at another meeting. And we're also holding this meeting virtually via GoToMeeting as per the government's special order or declaration. What do we always call that? It changes every time. Anyway.
Sounds good to me.
Thank you, Fred. Tonight we have a few things on a general meeting application, and then we have a public hearing of some continuations and new stuff. So getting right started into it. The first item on the general meeting agenda is site plan application number 269 A as in Apple, special permit application number 265, Boston Road 11 LLC, 1292 Boston Post Road. Request for a new second floor retail tenant. I can't pronounce that one. Sokayri to replace a little something white, the bridal shop. This is a two-story building at the base of the exit 11 ramp from I-95, and it sounds like we know a little bit of white moved out, and it sounds like there's a new custom clothing boutique would like to move in. I think we have David Genovese here, might be presenting this general meeting item. I think it's just why are we looking at this? Just because of parking?
Yeah, so a 2011 approval by the Planning and Zoning Commission required that any change of use or change of tenant within this building in the SB zone be brought back before the commission for consideration. It's basically a change from an existing retail tenant, as you know, to another low intensity retail tenant, which David Genovese, the building owner, has brought to us this evening. I believe in the information that David sent us, he indicated that there's going to be 2 to 3 employees of the new business, and any potential customers would likely be by appointment only. So, from a staff level, we see this as a very low intensity use. No real issues from our perspective. This is something that, we can get behind and support. If David has anything else to add, he's here with us this evening.
Before you speak there, it sounds like we're changing from a wedding salon to a designer of evening gowns for women. So it sounds like it's going from one lady's set of clothing to a different set of ladies' clothing. Good, David.
No, that's exactly right. Yeah, so I'm David Genovese. I'm acting on behalf of the property owner, which is Post Road 11 LLC. This building was built by Penny Glassmeyer, and yet she found, a very low intensity tenant originally, a little something white, which, boomed and has been enormously successful, and went from this space of about 2,000 feet or 2,200 feet to the Brooks Brothers building, taking the entire building. So there's good karma associated with this building. Sokayri is a custom dressmaker, almost honestly an identical business, likely much lower volume than a little something white had at the property beforehand. And Sokayri is currently operating at one of our buildings on the Post Road. We're relocating them here to make way for a new women's clothing retailer that will sign a lease with us for the permanent project, and will temporarily occupy the space currently occupied by Sokayri. So Fred summarized it well. We think it's actually a lower intensity use than what was there before, and a good resolution for this property's occupancy.
Great, thank you, David. Fred, I got a note from Kara Gately. She said she can't get in because it's waiting for the meeting organizer. Who's the meeting organizer?
She must have the wrong ID number to join the meeting. Let's give her the correct access code.
Okay, hold on, everybody. We're just one of the commissioners can't log in for some reason. You want to send it to? You want me to send it to?
if you have it easily accessible.
Oh, the access code here. So which one?
Yeah, I got it here.
Okay. Fantastic. Sorry. Commissioners, while we're waiting for Carrot, anybody have any questions? Adam, you want to go first?
No questions for me. I think it sounds perfectly reasonable.
Okay. Jeff Paul, anything, sir?
No, I'm good. Looks good to me.
Jim Rand?
I don't know which button to push. It looks good to me.
Great, thank you. Okay. That's it, fine by me. So that's 4 out of 4. It's really not a special meeting item. So let's just take a quick vote. George just got here. Hey, George. Welcome, sir. We're just going over the change in use on the second floor of 1292. Did you have any questions or comments? Are you up to speed on that one?
You talking to me?
Yes, sir.
Oh,
George.
I'm sorry. Wait a minute. Just getting up to speed. That's the latest resolution.
It's change in use from one tenant that's a old dressmaker or a wedding dressmaker.
Oh, yeah, no problem. No, all good.
Okay. We're good. We'll after we just get past this one, we'll get Kara back up to speed. Okay. With that said, entertain a motion to approve as submitted. Jeff Paul makes the motion. Looking for a second. Adam makes a second. All those in favor? All set. 5-0. You're all set, David.
Well, have a great night.
You too. Thanks, sir. That's you. Okay. Kara Gately. It's from the PZC website. Okay. We're gonna keep going. We're gonna try again. Oops. There we go. Okay, here we go. The next item on the agenda is amendment to business site plan application number 212, the Gardner Center at 1396 Boston Post Road. Request to install a 50 by 17 square foot landscape paver area and a stacked stone water feature and sign base on the northwest portion of the site with frontage on Boston Post Road. We received a packet of a PowerPoint presentation from, it looks like Mr. Chris Baker, or Barker, sorry about that, Chris. You want to explain to us real quick? It's kind of self-explanatory.
Yeah, real simple application here, just an amendment to the existing site plan that exists for the site. Any exterior work requires that the property owner, the applicant, Chris Barker in this case, come back before the commission for any exterior changes. Like Mr. Olvani noted, simply installation of a landscape paver area fronting on the Boston Post Road. According to Chris, and from what I understand, there's not going to be any sales of any sort of plants or materials from that area. It'll be landscaped with a water feature and some planters to enhance the appearance of the area. But otherwise, that's really all it is. So landscape paver area directly adjacent to the building and fronting on the Post Road. Chris Barker is here this evening to provide any additional clarifications.
And just before you speak, Chris, I want to make one note. In our packets, we did get the April 27, 2021 letter from the Architecture Review Board. They reviewed the whole design, colors, lighting, and pavers in front. They approved it, and they noted in their approval that that the patio, they're calling this a patio up front, can't be installed until P&Z approves. So Chris, please go right ahead and tell us your quick example. We got your packet. My one question is on your packet, on page 6, it shows the garden center sign inside the water feature bucket. And then on page 7, it looks like the same sign. It's got flowers around it.
Yep, Chris Barker from the Gardner Center. Yeah, that was actually something I was just about to say to everyone. It seems like there might be a little confusion. It's not a water feature. All that is that's a base for the sign where we're gonna have soil where we can put some plants, just to pretty it up a little bit. So we used to have a waterfall that was there. So I think that might be where the confusion is from. We removed the waterfall, so now it'll just be a monument sign where there's stacked stone at the base, and we can put some plants there.
Got it. So on page 4, where you have the blow up of the green area, it says water feature, and that's a circular one. That's
That was the previous one that was there.
no sweat. So
Okay, sure.
we just got to make space because that's circular. Now your new one's rectangular, right?
Correct, yeah. So there won't be any water feature there, but the new thing will be rectangular, correct?
Yeah, we'll just go ahead and note that in the approval if the commission goes ahead and approves this minor change.
Yep. So page 7 is probably the best rendering, right?
Page 7 is the best rendering, yep. And we just installed one of the building signs today. Looks absolutely fantastic. So we're making progress here.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Commissioners, any questions for Mr. Barker? Carrie, want to go first? You good? Got a big smile. Yours good. George Riley, good. Jeff, you okay? It's near your firehouse, man. Adam, you good?
Yeah, good for me. Looks good.
All right. With that said, I would entertain a motion to Jim Rand. I skipped you. You're making the motion to approve as submitted? Yep. I got a motion from Jeff. Jim, I got a second from Jeff. All those in favor? Good luck, sir.
Great,
You're all
thank you. Have a good night.
Please get it installed before the holiday season so you can get some good stuff out there.
I'm hoping we'll have it within 2 weeks, so I appreciate it.
Good luck, man.
See you, everyone.
Okay. Next item on the agenda is deliberations and possible decision on the following item. Subdivision application number 424 C's and Charlie, coastal site plan review number 360, land filling and regrading application number 512, James and Margaret Tweedy at 108 Nearwater Lane. This is the proposed subdivision of I think it's a 7-acre site into 4 lots. The 3 of the lots are going to be about a little bit over 1 acre, and the 4th lot is a little over 3 acres. And we got a draft resolution in your packets. Questions, comments to the draft, Scribner's errors, anything? I have a couple things to go over after we hear from everybody else. Adam, did you pick anything jump off the page, sir?
No, not when I was reviewing it.
Okay. George, anything? Any lawyerly things? Carrie, you good? Okay. Jeff Paul? Good. Jim Rand? Good. Okay. I got a couple quick items for Fred. Number 16, it says that deeded open space is going to be 13.7%. What is the percentage that's required? Is it 10%? Is it 15%? It's not 15%, it's going to be 10, right? The deeded open space represents 13.4 of the aggregate area, thus complies with Article 4, Section C of the Darien Subdivision Regulations.
Yeah, I would actually need to confirm what that specific percentage is.
It's probably 10.
Yeah,
right?
it might be. I would need to confirm what that is. We can
Okay.
certainly confirm that and add that to the resolution if you wish.
No, it's okay. As long as it's above it, I was just out of curiosity. Then on number 19, it's further noted by the applicant that lot 3 would not likely develop for many years. Is there a reason why we put that in there? I mean, they could sell it tomorrow, right?
Yeah, they could sell it tomorrow. It was just noted by the applicant during the public hearing that it's unlikely to be developed within the next decade or so.
Okay, that's fine. And then everyone's got to remember that on page 4, it goes through the waivers, which is 2021 and 23. And then also it goes into the waivers, comes up again, which is number 36 relative to the trees. We all approved all that stuff, but everyone's got to be on the same page because you have to have 6 out of You have to have 5 out of 6.
Correct.
So,
For the commission to approve the requested waivers, we need 5 of the 6 commission members to vote in favor of those
of those,
waivers.
but we'd have to vote on them separately, right? It's all part of the package.
That's correct. It's part of the resolution and the approval as a whole here.
Okay.
Each of those requested waivers of the subdivision regulations are laid out in detail in conditions H and I
Yep.
of the resolution in front of you. Would you like me to go over the specific waivers?
No, I think we're okay.
Okay.
No one made a comment on it. Okay. With that said, I would entertain a motion to approve as submitted. George Raleigh makes a motion. Looking for a second. Jim Rand's got the second. All those in favor? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. All those opposed? And all those abstaining? Kara's abstaining. Okay, so it's 5 to 0 to 1. Fantastic. The motion passes.
5 to 0, 1 abstention.
Fantastic. All right, thank you, everybody. Next item on the agenda. Any other business? 2/3 vote of the commission. Any other business you want to talk about?
Unless you want to talk about a potential special meeting for December,
Can we do that at the very end?
we can do that at the very end.
We can do that at the end, right?
Sure.
Okay. We'll do that right before we'll do that right before we adjourn. Then the next upcoming meeting is November 30th, which is the Tuesday after Thanksgiving, right?
That's correct. 2 weeks from today.
Yeah, so we don't have a meeting next week, everybody. We're off next week. Then we have a meeting after Thanksgiving weekend. All right, that concludes the general meeting for now. Now we're going to go into the public hearing. Okay, continuation of public hearing regarding proposed amendment to the Darien zoning regulations, COZR number 8, 2021, amendments to business site plan application number 295, special permit application number 294, land filling and regrading application number 401, Norotan Heights Shopping Center, Inc., 346 Heights Road. I'm going to open up the next one too, okay? All right, so I'm not going to read everything. We've already read this once or twice. The next item I'm going to open up is a related application. It's continuation of public hearing regarding special permit application number 170C as in Charlie, Norotan Heights Shopping Center, Inc., Goddard School at 346 Heights Road. The first item is the zone change and site plan review. If the zone change goes through,
I'm on the phone. Couldn't get it on.
can you, can caller 4, that might be Beth, can you mute your phone? Thank you. I mean, your phone, there you go. If the first item, if you guys remember, we have to do the zone change to allow a school or a daycare center in this zoning district, which covers the whole super block that goes from Heights Road all the way to Hollow Tree Ridge Road between between West Avenue and Heights Road. I said it right? Yeah, Norotan to the other way.
That's correct.
And then also we have to approve their site plan application changes that they're asking for.
Yes, and just to clarify that the proposed zone change also includes allowing three bedroom apartments in this zone as well.
Great. So if that gets approved, then we can talk about the special permit application for the school. You have to have the first one before you can even get to the second one. So where do we leave off on that? I know we have Mr. Mazza here. He probably has something go. Bob, what I would like to do is try to dedicate maybe 45 minutes to this tonight.
Yeah, 30 to 45 minutes.
If we could dedicate 30 to 45 minutes on this one. I don't know if everybody's ready yet with regard to the peer reviews. So I don't know if we're going to close it tonight. I don't think we're going to close it tonight, right?
No, I don't think we'll have the opportunity to close it tonight. Just to clarify, the commission has hired Michael Galante of Hardesty in Hanover to review the traffic and parking aspects of the proposal. And the commission has also hired Tom Nelson of McCord Engineering to review the stormwater and drainage aspects of the proposal. We did receive the site development plan set from the applicant this week, as well as an updated stormwater and drainage report, which we have gone ahead and forwarded to the peer reviewers. So they are in the process of taking a look at that information, the site plan, the drainage report, the traffic report that has of course been forwarded to Michael Galante. We received a letter from Michael Galante today requesting some additional studies and information with respect to traffic from the applicant. So they will need to provide that at a later date for the commission to consider and review. Okay. As Mike considers that as part of this peer review as well.
Now, you sent us a hot link to some file today. Was that the site plan for this? Or was that something different?
Yeah, that was the site plan for this, as well as the drainage report from Land Tech, the applicant's engineer.
Great. Okay. The only thing I would request, and this is more general than it is specific to this application, Bob, if you guys could try to get this stuff in sooner than just the day of, because I like to look at this stuff before we get to our meetings. And even if it comes on Monday, if it comes Monday morning, I might be able to get to it. If it comes Tuesday at 12 noon, I got no shot to be able to read it.
Yeah, and I would just add that that's really the reason that we're approaching the hearing tonight as we are, focusing on the zone change and then the special permit application for the school. So neither of those two items that the commission will consider tonight really has a whole lot to do with the actual site plan. The special permit application for the school focuses more on the operational aspects of the school. That does translate to the site plan to some extent, of course, particularly related to pedestrian circulation,
we have
parking.
to change the zoning to get the site plan, the school in there in the first place.
Exactly. The commission has to change the zoning to allow the school in the first place.
Okay. For the general public, we might have a few minutes towards the end of the half hour, 45 minutes for public comment. We're going to try to keep that limited tonight because we're definitely going to look at this application again. Just for the record, today we did get some letters. I got at least three or four of them. A Mr. James Raymond submitted a letter. He lives, I think, near Miles Road. Another gentleman, Eric Johnson, lives at 33 Miles Road. He's in favor of the project, but, quote, I'm sure the traffic issues will get worked out. So that's something that we have to get worked out. There's another one that came from James Clark at 23 Miles Road. They were glad to see the local developers building it. And there's another one from a woman that is 101 Hollow Tree Ridge Road. She is has a couple kids in daycare and wants to make sure that the commissioners know what it's like to have kids in daycare. Adam, I don't know if you got any kids that are daycare age, but I know the other four of us are past the daycare years.
I do indeed. I have one in kindergarten and one that's 2 at St. Luke's. So I'm well versed in the daycare world.
So to Mrs. Who is this? Joanna Zitani. We do have a person that is in the daycare world. Okay, Mr. Maslin, welcome, sir.
Welcome. I think I'm on. Am I? Yeah, I'm on.
You're on. We have slides on our screen. Slides in November 16th.
Okay. For the record, Robert Maslin, and I represent both the applicants here. I'm not going to go down the list of people who are on this because I think by virtue of the fact that this is recorded, their names appear, and as they speak, they can identify themselves. We'll save a little time. What I'd like to do, Mr. Chairman, is go through a couple of new slides addressing a couple of items just very briefly. that were mentioned either during the last session of the hearing or through staff, and then dive into the Goddard special permit application. And so what I've done is add on to the existing PowerPoint. The one you see here is added on to the Norotan Heights Shopping Center presentation. So the first thing is someone asked about mapping out the vehicular and the pedestrian movements. So we had Rob prior prepare this map. It may be a little difficult to see, but there's yellow and kind of orange lines and arrows. I'm sorry, green. Green lines and arrows depict the movement into the site, and the orange shows the movements from the site back on Heights Road. I think the focus last time was in this. Let me get my little pointer here.
Can you make it a little bigger? I can't see.
A little bigger?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I can't see the colors. It's maybe it's my vision.
No, you're
That is so much better. Thank you so much.
Is that okay? I'm
That's
not
a
going to be able to use the pointer, oddly enough.
So
But,
much better. Thank you.
but I think the focus was primarily on this entrance drive that goes through Building 1 with Goddard space on the left and the rest of Building 1 on the right with the bridge going overhead. So you have the green line going in, and there's a couple of different ways you can go. If you're going up to level 2 on the parking garage, you just kind of veer off to the left, go through a gate, up the ramp and in. If you're going in anywhere else, you have some choices here. Rob has this going in a counterclockwise direction around the parking spaces in level 1. You can, of course, continue straight over here, go through the public plaza space over to the end and turn right back onto Heights Road. You can also exit through the back here from the parking garage and basically come out the same place on Heights Road. There are 3 different in routes, if you will. Starting on the left here, I talked about. Then you have the one here to the right of Building 2. And this runs up between the large parking lot in the back and the bank branch right on Heights Road. Again, all the way to the back, in through the parking garage, and then circulate. You can come out here, you can come out the same way you came in. And then the other way in is through the far eastern entrance that takes you up to the market. Palmer's Market is here. That pedestrian way up to West Avenue is up at the top at the upper right-hand corner. And of course, you can make your way through here. So that's the vehicular travel.
Could I interrupt 1 second, Bob?
Yes.
With regards to the resident parking, right? So this is helpful for, Tuesday morning at 7:30 a.m.
Yep.
But at that time, at Tuesday morning at 7:30 a.m., I've got 59 apartments, right? Where are the cars for the people that live in the residence?
Well, the second level of the parking garage is reserved for the residential parking.
Okay.
That's not all of them. Some of them are going to be in the lower level of the garage. Some may park in the surface parking. The only area that's reserved, though, is the second level of the parking garage.
And if I asked this before, I forgot. How many parking spaces are on each level of the garage?
Well, I forgot the answer.
It makes 2 of us. You got a lot of experts on here, don't you?
Yes, Neil Olinsky, I think, is on the line here, and Rob, either one of you want to volunteer an answer?
Is Joe Vaccaro? He knows it's backwards.
Joe Vaccaro.
Neil's got to shut up his phone. Neil, you got to shut off your phone. There you go.
Oh, Rob Pryor, can you?
Yeah, I'm gonna have to look at it. it's something around 56 cars on the upper deck of the garage. But I can let me verify that. I gotta actually download the plan set.
Can I put that?
Bob, the reason why it matters is they made the statement that people are going to come in and go to the upper level of the garage. You know, yeah, you can definitely do that. What we're trying to focus on a little bit, and this got to do with site plan review, is the parking. You know, or I'm most focused on the drop off of the kids in the morning. Some other commissioners might be focused on the pickup in the afternoon.
I'd like to just
drop off.
I'll talk about that briefly during the Goddard part of tonight's presentation, but what I'd really like to do is hash out all the issues with Mike Galante on circulation and parking and overall pedestrian safety through the parking lots, rather than talk about it now and then have to talk about it again later.
But Bob, don't you think it's important if we're doing a zone reg change to allow a pedestrian intensive and traffic intensive special permitted use to sort of, in theory, at least discuss pedestrian and traffic, right? Because this is a zone.
Sure.
I don't need to get specifics as to this site plan. I think can wait till there's a real traffic study done. I agree with you. But I think whether or not, given the high intensity of this location and this zone, I think traffic is appropriate to, at least in general, talk about at the reg amendment.
Oh, sure. Yeah. And
because at the end of the day,
obviously that's a concern. But I think it would be more efficient if we work out all of the concerns with Mike Galante through the peer review process. And
totally right.
Next time we're here, we'll have
totally.
a much more thorough pick up and drop off and circulation process to tell you about, rather than do it twice. That's really my point. And
oh no, I
both of these are open, and you're not going to close either one of them until we're finished with both of them. So, you know, sequencing, obviously you have to approve the text amendment first, but as a practical matter, we'll have all of those issues hashed out by the time you close the hearing.
Right,
Bob, it's Phil Cerrone. I just want to give you that answer on the parking. There's 51 spaces on the second level and 61 on the first level.
Okay, and we have 59 apartments there, right?
65.
65 apartments, and there's only 51 parking spaces on the first level?
Second level. And
Second
then there's 61 on the ground level and 51 on the second level. So some people some of the residents will have to park on the ground level.
Right.
And some will end up parking.
But they can't
on the
park
surface.
in those 6 reserved spots for the Goddard School. And I might be getting to specifics for the site plan while we're in the more general discussion on the reg change.
Yep. Okay, there's a couple of different ways that we've been discussing on the drop off and pickup. One is a possibility of reserve spaces. One is something like 15-minute parking spaces rather than reserve them exclusively for Goddard. You know, we're working through those, and we'll have that figured out by next time.
Okay.
All right.
Now, relative to the, and it's an operational thing, relative to the residents, will they have reserved parking spaces for themselves? Like Stephen Ovani is in apartment 102 and his parking space is 36. Is that the thought of it now?
He's got to park all the way over here on the upper right-hand corner of the.
Figured that, right?
Yeah.
My apartment's going to be in the corner, on the corner of Hollow Tree and Heights Road.
Over here, yeah. Overlooking lighted property up here to the north.
You're going to buy that.
We saved that specially for you. Well, parking spaces reserved on the second level of the garage, that's a parking management type thing. Obviously, the houses or apartments up on top of the garage are going to want reserved spaces there. My guess is that most of the reserved spaces up on this level are going to be directly attached to building 2, so they'll handle these parking for the apartments in building 2 and maybe some leftover for building 1. But again, that's more management after the project is built.
Correct.
Okay.
But I'm going to let you go. I apologize.
Yeah, no, it's fine. Okay. All right, what happened here? Oh, here we go. All right, this one's a little more difficult to read. This is a pedestrian circulation plan, and you see this kind of like greenish set of broken lines here is the pedestrian. So let's start up here, upper right-hand corner. This is that right-of-way coming in from West Avenue. You see some circulation down in this direction, across the crosswalk to the market, down through this wider traffic aisle or traffic island, through the landscaped area, another crosswalk to the main part of it, and you see circulation on the pathways around and through the shopping center. The other coming in from Federal, as I think somebody mentioned last time, comes in the lower right, follows the pathway along the front of the bank branch property crosswalk. Now you're into the site in front of building 2, circulation through the public plaza areas and around internally. I think the primary concern last time was how do you get to Goddard from over at Federal, and the answer is follow the lines here, go through the plaza, come across the rear of building 1, cross the crosswalk over to the Goddard entrance, or just follow the sidewalk to the crosswalk and then up the side of the building under the bridge to Goddard, or take the other sidewalk. Coming in from Hollow Tree Ridge, you have sidewalk here, turn left, go in front of the Goddard building and left and up to the entrance. Kara?
So what if you're a train commuter and you park in the commuter lot for Norotan Heights, right? Because there's not a lot of spots here. So you figure I'm better off rather than fighting and blocking and being in a queue here to get in, if not if I'm walking, if I'm driving. And so you figure, okay, I'm going to park at the train station because I'm going to get there eventually anyway. And then I'm going to walk over with kids. How do they get from either side of the train station safely as a pedestrian to the Goddard School?
2 ways.
Okay.
One,
with a stroller.
One, you can actually drive up and as if you're not going to the train station and drop your child off.
I'm saying they're already ruling that out, right? Because they're like, this is a pain in the neck. I don't like this traffic circulation here because I'm waiting in a line. There's only 6 spots. I'm not driving into the garage. I'm not doing that when I know I'm going to park over here. So I'd rather get my spot over the train station and then bring the kids over. How do they walk safely with children from the train station to the Goddard School?
Well, if you're on the other side of the tracks, you cross over the tracks and you have a sidewalk here.
With a stroller?
Isn't there a pathway across the railroad tracks?
Okay, Kara, Joe here. You would take the elevator across the train track bridge, down the elevator on the other side.
Okay.
Then cross over the Heights Road pedestrian way, and then on up into Goddard from that way. Or you could push your stroller, which I don't know if many people would do, but you could push your stroller.
Time out 1 second. Can you just state your name for the record? But also, there's no elevator at the train station.
So that's that was unknown. Anyway, Joe Vaccaro, one of the owners of the development.
There's no elevators there, man.
Okay. The other way you could do it would be to come up a Hollow Tree Ridge and then to walk on the sidewalks from Hollow Tree over the sidewalks on Hollow Tree and over the train bridge, cross the Hollow Tree and Heights intersection, and then on and through Goddard, Bob described.
That's probably the best way to go, right? Is to go up to Hollow Tree, the sidewalk on that side, wait at the light, cross over, and I believe there's a pedestrian crosswalk.
You're
at
talking
that
about right here?
And then, okay.
There is. I didn't know about that.
Yeah, it's a problem.
Guy O'Neill's, yeah, he's gonna stay off.
Thank you. That's just, I'm just worried, like, given the, and I know we're gonna talk about traffic later, but given the tightness of vehicular, right, it's not a bigger, I looked at the other Goddard school in Westport, and it's a different kind of parking lot. And my kids were at daycare, and I'm familiar with, parking situations and circulation. Yeah, and this, so I just think, yeah, that pedestrian walkability needs to be really considered at this location, given the intensity of traffic, both to schools, to the train, to retail. Hollow Tree is a highly used road, and as is West Avenue, both the high school and the middle school, at what I think is probably the peak times for drop-off, which I think will likely lead to, hopefully or potentially, increased pedestrian options. So I just think that needs to be considered.
Okay. Just a couple of comments, and then because I don't want to get tied up on this, we're going to come back to it later on. Just a couple of thoughts. I'm not so sure people are not going to pull in, drop their child off, hop back in the car, and then drive to the commuter lot on the other side of the railroad tracks.
I think if they can, they will. There's only 6 spots.
Well, there are more than 6, and I'll show you in a minute how that's going to work. But I wouldn't just assume that everybody's going to want it.
I'm not assuming. I'm just saying it might be a possibility, given the tightness.
Sure. Okay. So this is the pedestrian.
Considered because we want to increase, right? We need to really think about and be mindful of walkability and pedestrian safety, given the amount of pedestrians and people who walk in this area in particular, and that it's a goal of the town. So I think while I agree, parents dropping off at daycare, obviously their preference would be to drop off the kids using their car first, and then in temporary, 15-minute parking or in a circle, and then pull out and go to the commuter lot. We can't, during a reg change, not consider pedestrian safety, walkability, and these options, especially given the fact that there's no elevator at the train station.
Okay, I'll make one more point, and then I'd like to kind of move on. And
yeah, keep moving on, Bob.
Okay, one quick thing. Just try to keep in mind that with the rolling drop-off and pickup times, you're not going to get the queuing the way you do at school. So just kind of keep that
in mind that pedestrian safety and walkability is really important.
Okay. All right. Touching on the amendments, a new subsection K to 743 just simply adds childcare centers to the list of principal uses requiring special permits. I cite here to the plan of development, and I also mentioned that this amendment will address the need for private full-time childcare centers in Darien. There are a couple of email comments from the public supportive of Goddard coming to this location and obviously recognizing that there's a need for it. And here's the need. There are really no similar existing schools like this or childcare centers like this in Darien. Goddard offers full-time, 5 days a week, year-round type programs, whereas except for the Norotan Presbyterian childcare and nursery school, they're under 2 different licenses. The rest of these are on a couple days a week, 2 hours, 2.5 hours. They're very narrowly focused specific programs with an educational purpose, but they're typically not set up. They end up closing at 2:30, 3 o'clock in the afternoon. Some of them are not open during the summertime. And the Norotan Presbyterian programs have a waiting list that I believe is about a year long. So there's definitely a need here, and Goddard will help fill that need. My guess is there'll be more demand left over after Goddard is here. And down at the bottom here, Goddard will be open from 7 to 6 with an all-day curriculum. And then we have the proposed amendment to 743, which deals with area and bulk and adding a new note F, I guess. And this one does 2 things. Increases the bedroom count to 3 for up to 25% of the number of additional incentive units. This sounds like it's a little convoluted, but the intent here is to allow a very limited number of 3 bedrooms, and they're basically, it's 25% of your incentive units, and in this case, that's 4. So, but it's not the incentive units that are deed restricted. They're just a way of coming up with the number 4. All right. Total bedroom count in this project will increase by 4, which is actually 6% of the total dwelling units. I cite the Plan of Conservation and Development reference to diversifying housing portfolio by reviewing the zoning regulations on multifamily housing, eliminate size restrictions and for multifamily units. And then what I did was compare what this would result in terms of the Norotan Heights Shopping Center with Avalon Bay, which is around the corner. Granted, Avalon Bay is in a different zone from here, but that was really the first big, probably the biggest affordable housing application so far in Darien, where we ended up with 183 units. The percentages work out sort of in a big ballpark, but you'll see the 3-bedroom count for Avalon is 17%, and we're down at 6% for Norotan Heights. So the point here is this is not a wide open, make everything 3 bedrooms. It's not much of a change at all. And the 4 bedrooms are, in this particular plan, are over the parking garage. So that is it for the, actually, that's it for the Norotan Heights.
Can you go back there for a second?
Oh, sure. I got to find it now. Here we go.
You just go back 2 slides.
2 slides. Okay, where would we go? Here?
Yeah, because the first, what the first item is if you have 65 apartments or you have 100 apartments and you're going to have studios 1, 2s, and 3s, my understanding of the affordable housing regulation, and Jeremy just got here, can back it up, is you have to have each unit's got to be proportional. Okay, So you can't have 100 apartments that are all 2 bedrooms and all the affordables are all studios.
Exactly.
So we have to make sure, and I know Darienne's is going to regulate that, but it's also goes to state regulations. So that's where your percentage comes in, where you're going that the 3 bedrooms is going to be up to 25% of the number of units, additional incentive units. That's where we have to make sure that's right. I mean, it's the first time I've seen what you're doing, so I haven't figured out the math. The second item, as a clarification, over at Avalon, there's 189 units there, not 183. I don't know where you got the 183 from.
I got the 183 from the application.
Yeah, there's 189 there.
It may have modified it somewhere along the way, but
There's 189 there.
Okay.
So I mean, we asked this question before, are any 3 bedrooms going to be affordables? You know, if we're going to, I mean, I get what you're doing. I understand that, but if it's got to be equal, because you it's 12%, right? So it's how many affordables I have? 65 times 12%? 65 times 0.12 equals. You have 8 affordable units?
that would be here. Well, we're on 10.
No, we have 10.
We have 10.
You have 10 affordables, and we're gonna make it proportional, right?
Well, it would be 5 1-bedroom, 5 2-bedroom to get to 10. You know, you're 1/6, so it would be 1/6 of 4, which is obviously a partial unit that we pay the fee in lieu on.
I know what you're trying to do. I'm just trying to make sure you're not getting caught.
No, I got it. Okay.
You know, if you got to make one of those 3 bedrooms affordable, that's different mathematics. So that relates back to the zone change. That relates back to the zone change where you say of the 3 bedrooms in this zone, only 25% can be affordables. I mean, only 25% can be 3 bedrooms.
25% is just to get to the number 4, which is, 4 is 25% of 10. So providing 10 separate affordable units, and it's just a formula to come up with the number 4, not necessarily to make any particular number of the 3 bedrooms affordable. That's something we'll look into.
Now, wait a second, go back. So you're doing the 10. Go back to your regulation, please, your wording. Let's say 25%. Create a maximum for 2 bedrooms and 3 bedrooms for up to 25% of the total number of incentive units.
Yeah.
So why would you put it as incentive units, not total units?
Because we're trying to keep it down to a low number. If you'll allow us 25% of the total units to be 3 bedrooms, that's a whole different.
Correct. That's because the incentive units number is already from your application already changed. It's now 14%, whereas when your application was 5, it was 12.
12, yeah.
Do you like that?
But should a reg change amendment for an entire zone be drafted and crafted to back into a number for a specific site plan and a specific development?
No, it shouldn't. That's the same thing where we're going back to the reg change. When you talk about Goddard School, Bob, you also have to use, competitors like Bright Horizon and Building Blocks and all those. I mean, what I want to be able to do is be able to put in this zoning district a daycare center, which could be one of 5 different offerings.
Which is great.
Well, it can be any number of different types of childcare centers as well.
Agreed. That's what we're at. It's a zone change. It's not specific to Goddard.
Correct. Right. The zone change is across the board. It's not
But that's why are we trying to back into a number that this applicant wants for this development?
A number of what, bedrooms?
You want us to amend a reg for an entire zone
Right.
to get to a number for a specific application. And that, to me, is not how our regulations should be amended.
Well, every time someone applies for a text amendment, it's because they have a specific development in mind.
No, not every time. That's not every time our regs get amended. That's not how.
No, I'm talking about a private.
Right, but I raise this every time, and you can go back and listen. I raise this, and I'm annoying about it. But when we're changing our regs for a zone, we need to look at the zone in its entirety and not amend things and have sort of a convoluted thing to back into a number for a specific application.
Okay.
I mean, do you see conceptually like what my issue is?
Yeah, but I'm not sure I agree with the approach. What I'm saying
is that it's okay to back into regulation changes based on a specific application?
Not all zoning amendments are advanced by or proposed by a developer.
I could totally agree with you on that.
The commission does it every time Glenn Chalder comes around, which is perfectly fine. That's how the system is supposed to work. But when you have a project like one where you're converting an office building into a large apartment development, you have to make up regulations that would accommodate the needs or the desires of the developer.
No, I don't think it's
wants to do that. And that's the same thing.
No, I would disagree with that. I don't think you change regulations based on the needs of a developer. I think you amend your regulations based on state statute, federal law that's applicable, your town plan of conservation and development, and the needs of the region and the town. And obviously, of course, you also consider adverse impacts on neighbors within the zone, neighbors who might be affected by the, application that is likely to follow. Right. And I don't think it's based on what a developer wants necessarily. Obviously, what the developer desires and what they're doing needs to be considered because developers are really important partners.
That I was just going to say that the developer is the private side of a public-private partnership, and the developer comes up with development ideas. Obviously, the developer is going to look at the plan of conservation and development.
I would hope so.
See what's available, and if the regulations need to be adjusted to accommodate the development that's being proposed, that's how you do it. When Tom Golden came in years ago to create the Norotan Heights overlay zone, that's exactly what he did. He had visions for the development of this area. And, what we've seen since then is two major projects that are consistent with those regulations. But he had a development in mind when he proposed the Norotan Heights overlay zone. And then when the developers came along, the Palmer's family and Federal, those regulations were changed again in order to accommodate the specific needs in order to make developments under those regulations work. And
no, and I think just
those
like in
were
this
in a
situation,
way backed in, but that's how the system works.
No, I agree with that, and I agree. And I think with this application in particular, right, there's been dramatic societal and market changes that need to be recognized, and an application that came in, so much has changed, it's been almost Titanic. And that has to be recognized.
Sure.
I think my issue is not so much about recognizing and acknowledging the vision analysis and, thorough study and hard work that developers do, because it's invaluable. What I'm more talking about is making a reg change and coming up with such convoluted specific things to back into a specific number for a specific application, which I think is slightly different than what you're saying, because I think I agree with what you're saying.
Okay.
And
Well,
I just may not be articulate enough to get my point across in a way that's understandable. And
Okay.
you are
I
working.
mean, there may be a simpler way to come up with a number. My goal here was to, and our goal was to come up with a text amendment that would allow for a very, very small number of 3-bedroom units so that we're not turning the whole project into 3-bedroom units. That's really all it was. And
I get it.
there's another way to calculate this, then fine. But this takes a couple of things into account. Number one, you have to have additional incentive units to begin with. So you don't get the extra bedroom without having additional incentive units beyond the 12%. And in the future, it would be beyond the 14%. So there is some zoning logic to this. And again, it's a way to open the door a little bit to get
Bob?
units, and that's it. So
Bob, this is Jeremy Ginsburg, Planning and Zoning Director.
Yes.
I think it might be best if you and I talk over the week and we can try to make the wording simpler to understand, but still getting the same concepts through.
Got it. Okay. All right. I think I can go on to the Goddard part of our presentation, if I can figure out how to do this walk and chew gum at the same time. Let me just try this. Did that work? Does it say Goddard on your screen? It must. All right, now I just need to get my control up here. Okay, here we go. Oops. Just bear with me for a second. Okay. All right, here we are. So I have 20 slides here, and I'll go through them pretty quickly. Some of you may have heard of Goddard. Some may understand what the concept is. Kristen and Kenneth Bodenstein, I think both of them are on. They're the principals of the Goddard School in Westport, and they're going to be the principals of the school here. And so I thought I would start with a brief overview here. This application is a request for a special permit. The location, obviously, we talked about. The site plan and zoning compliance issues are all addressed in the other application. And these are some of the numbers that we're talking about. 11,276 plus or minus square feet of interior floor area, 5,000 feet of outdoor fenced recreation, 152 children, 26 teachers, 2 administrative staff persons, and we're here to talk about the special permit issues. Goddard, this slide kind of lays out an introduction to Goddard. Goddard was established in 1988. It's been around a while. There are 570 Goddard franchises with more than 70,000 students in 38 states. In Fairfield County, the towns that they're already located in are Westport, as I mentioned, that's the Bodenstein's school. Then you have Wilton, Danbury, Brookfield, Monroe, and Fairfield. They're all licensed by the Connecticut State Office of Early Childhood as child care centers. All of the teachers meet Goddard's educational and training and development requirements, background checks, and the Westport location has a licensed capacity of 155, including 72 children under age 3. So we touched on the text amendment. I put it in here because it's part of what we're talking about tonight. These pictures we can skim through. This is building 1, and the area that Space Goddard's going to take up is on the first floor. I think we pretty much have this nailed down. The Goddard School is in this portion of building 1 on the ground level. This illustrates where you would park. These circles are 150-foot radius and a 200-foot radius from the entrance to the school, which is right here. So you have closest are these spaces right here with the blue circle or blue oval around them. And then you have this row in here available for drop off. And then obviously you have some spaces over here, all within 150 feet, which is pretty close. And in the morning, before anything opens up in this building, you may have, probably do have additional spaces here. Intuitively, I think it would be reasonable to expect people to park in the garage to get all their stuff out when the weather's bad, rain, snow, wind, whatever. And once they have everything together, walk across the crosswalk and get to the school that way. Again, we're going to work this out a little bit more with Mike Galante, have more information. This is a slide with the floor plan. This one is kind of cluttered. This one I'll show you in a close-up here. The numbers are on here, but they are laid out in a table on the following slide. So Olive Tree Ridge Road is over on the left, Heights Road on the bottom, and we have classroom, 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 and then a row of classrooms down here. Entryway is over here, and the director's office, the owner's office. There's a kitchen here, but the kitchen's really a break room with a microwave and a sink and all. It's not like it's going to be cooking for the students. Here are the numbers.
Yeah. Bob, again, go back to that 1 second again. I apologize. Can you just make sure that we're all on the same page where the entrance is to the apartment building?
Over here.
Okay.
Hey, it's Phil Serrano. I'm the architect for the project. So the entrance is where Bob's cursor is. The entrance is, yeah, it's at the corner of the building, which isn't actually on that drawing.
Bob, no offense. I'd rather have the architect presenting this than you. He designed it.
Okay.
Well, honestly, this is Phil Serrano. I designed the project. Goddard has their own people that did the interior of the building, so we didn't do their interior layout. They have their own architects that do the interior.
Right. I mean, I'm not that concerned with the interior either. I care about the whole thing.
Okay.
We have our plans. We have the overall plans, which were presented last time as part of the other application. I think Bob has them still.
Okay, keep going.
Okay. Okay, so here are the numbers. The student population is here. 72 under 36 months, 80 over 36 months, 152 students, 30 staff, for a total of 182 for occupancy. And then the classroom counts are here. 2 classrooms for 6 weeks to 12 months, and so on and so on. Total of 30.
Time out, Bob. With regards to the 30 staff people, when do they show up?
Regards to who?
With the 30 staff people, what time do they get to the property?
Some of them, and maybe Kristen, are you here?
Yeah.
Can you? Okay, could you talk about first identify yourself for the record, but talk about when the staff arrives and when they leave?
Yep, sure thing. Hi, everybody. I'm Kristen Bodenstein, co-owner of the Westport Goddard School with my husband, Ken. I'm also on site operating the school every day.
Welcome.
The way that it works for teacher scheduling is teachers work a 9-hour shift with a 1-hour break. Few started around 7 o'clock when we opened, very few, because most of the students aren't there until close to 8:30, 9 o'clock, even 9:30. So the first few come in at 7, then the next shift, so to speak, starts around 8 o'clock. Then there's also an 8:30, 8:45 shift. And then they leave 9 hours. So then the first group would leave at 4:30, the second group would leave at 5:30, and the last group at 6 o'clock.
So it's not really all coming and going at the same time?
No, absolutely not, because it's very staggered.
Where do they park?
Of children, and it has to do with the child to teacher ratios. So if there are 4 children, it's a 4-to-1 ratio. So we know that there may not be all 4 children there until 8 o'clock, 8:30, and then the 5th child comes at 8:30, so to speak. So that's when that second teacher needs to be there, if that makes sense.
But don't you have to plan if you're open for a certain time, given the strict regulatory requirements on ratios? That you have to have a certain amount of staff, especially for the 72 children who are 36 months and younger?
Yes. So as I mentioned, very few children are really there at 7 o'clock.
Right, so you have to plan, right? Because do you, by contract, say to the parents, you can't come until a certain time?
Nope.
So then you have to plan as if the entire classroom will be there.
We don't, because we know when children come, and they come at the same time.
What happens if they do?
What was that?
What happens if they do?
If they all come at once?
If they're all there, how do you meet your regulatory requirement on the ratios?
Yep, so we know when they're all going to be there, so we have enough teachers
have some sort of
to cover those ratios.
Agreement with the parents about when they're showing up.
Yes, so we ask families when they sign, give us the hours that you're going to be at the school.
Okay, so there's some sort of understanding. It's not like some random rolling thing. There is an understanding about when parents expect to be showing up, because you have to plan that to meet your regulatory requirements.
Right, so we also know what the patterns are because we use software to track when children are signed in the morning.
Great.
Luckily, there's a very regular pattern to it.
Okay, and that will help then address some of the parking and traffic issues.
Correct.
Okay, cool, thank you.
Okay, any other questions on this?
Yeah, where it comes down to, Bob, is we're trying to figure out, again, it flows back to parking. Okay, so if at 7 o'clock in the morning, if there's 10 staff people there, plus the 65 apartments, that's 65 times 1.5 cars per person.
90.
It's 90 cars plus 10. So right now at 7 o'clock in the morning or 7:15, when the first 10 workers get there for Goddard School, you have 100 occupied parking spaces. Right, there's 51 on the second level, so that's all going to be taken already by the people that live there, and you have 61 on the ground level. That's where we're trying to figure this whole thing out. I don't need Michael Galante to tell me that we got an issue. I can do it myself. I've been to the Goddard School in Westport at 11 o'clock multiple times, and it's great. I don't know how many staff people work at the Goddard School in Westport, but I think the last time I was there was only 15 cars. But if these staff people, I get 30 people, everybody's there at 12 noon, right? So you got all 12. At 12 noon, you got 30 people there, and I still have 100. I still have 120 cars, right?
I guess to that, with some of your staffers, I don't know, do you find that they take trains? Do they take buses? I mean, you're located, that location is serviced by a Connecticut bus routes, and I think I shouldn't say routes, and the train as well. I understand the train maybe is a bit more erratic, but I do know people within intra-Connecticut, within the state, take the train. So do you envision that some of your staffers may in fact take public transportation or ride together or and maybe there won't be cars for each individual staffer?
Correct. So 10% roughly of our staff do take the train.
Okay.
It's convenient walk. And Westport's very, very similar because the train is very close to our location there.
Right.
So we have about 10% of the staff that use the train.
Okay.
So
and there's a bus also that stops right there that goes from the Stamford, I believe, to, I haven't checked it in a long time. But it doesn't, there's a bus route also there, right? Because there's a train station and it goes, I believe down, I have to look at it, but right. So there are public transportation options and from your experience already, your staffers, from your experience, don't all drive single cars. Some of them take public transportation.
Correct. 10% public transportation right now, which is the train.
Great.
Okay, that's fine.
Thank you.
We're going to extend this to another week, at least, for another meeting. So we blew past our half hour, 45-minute timeline. Is there anything you want to keep going, Bob? We can try to wrap this up and move on because we know what it is.
Just a couple of things. I have basically 3 quick slides. All right, we have the operational features. We talked about the time. There's you can go back and look at the safety features here. Obviously, not everything, and it's not drilled down into minute detail, but there are several safety features built in. We do have this drop-off and pickup, and I'm mentioning this so you can go and look at the online version of this PowerPoint. But the big thing is a rolling drop-off and pickup, which distinguishes this from a typical school where the school day starts at a particular time and everybody's getting there at the same time. And you have an immense traffic jam for 15 or 20 minutes. That's not the case with an operation like Goddard. There is security in drop-offs and pickups, electronic sign-ins. Parents have to accompany their kids into the school, and the pickup is basically the reverse. And then some additional information. Regulation amendment we already talked about. I mentioned no real cooking facilities here. It's the kitchen there is basically a break room. If you wanted, you can go to the link here and check out the daycare licensing that the Office of Early Childhood has and see what else is licensed in Darien or in this area. And obviously there's strict standards under OEC regulations as well as Goddard's own standards that tend to be a little stricter here and there. All right, that's it for Goddard, and thank you for letting us go over our time. I think the issues that we have hanging are the 2 peer reviews. I'm going to talk to Jeremy about the text amendment. And anything else that anybody on the commission would like us to address that we wouldn't ordinarily see in a peer review?
I think most of it's there. I'll let the commissioner speak. Jeff Paul, is there anything that's jumps off the page you want to put on Bob's list to discuss for the next meeting? You're muted, Jeff, for some reason. Check your battery in your earphone.
Sorry. I still look at the I mean, again, if we're talking about that traffic pattern based on one of those first slides that he showed, the only concern I have is for a fire truck to go in on any of those entrances, it still seems like there's only one way in that apparatus can get in, because it seemed like both of the other ways that a fire truck could get in there would have to go through the parking garage and then based on the one way. So that's still a big concern for me, and it always will be until, you know, it looks better on paper than the way it looks right now. So that's all I have.
Just if I can, we sent this to Bob Bush, the fire marshal, and he's looked at it, and I'm not sure where exactly he is on this, but we are aware of that as a potential issue, as we are in every site plan review application. So we're working on that, and we'll have that nailed down for you. Particularly if Bob Bush has concerns, we'll address them.
Thank you.
Want to add to that, Chairman? Okay. Just, we also have to make sure the clearance of the, it looks like a fire truck might have to go into there too. Adam, any questions at this point? Oh, Jim, I'll get you 1 second.
Yeah, I had one question about the rolling attendance that you mentioned on the previous slide. I get that the school's open pretty extended hours, which is, I guess, great for working parents. I have a feeling that it probably looks more like 2 or 3 or 4 kids are there at 7 to 7:30, and then 80% of them show up between 8:30 and 9, and then a couple of them show up late. So it's rolling-ish, but it's really more like most of them are showing up in like a 10 to 15-minute window. Could you provide maybe like some data based on what your Westport school is, like what the actual attendance is on like a 10-minute breakdown or 15-minute breakdown? Because if you get a cluster of 30 people trying to drop off in 15 minutes of 150, all of a sudden in that little area, you're going to be way backed up.
Yes,
Great.
we actually have that, and we can maybe send it out, Bob, if you want afterwards. We do have 15-minute counts by day. So the greatest window of time is 34 families dropping off in 1 hour.
Okay. That's
Really,
fine.
it's a very staggered drop off.
That data would be really, really, really helpful.
You got
And
it.
then what's the number of students at the Westport location?
152.
Okay.
Almost completely comparable.
Yeah,
It's-
absolutely. It's exactly the same number of classes and ages.
Yeah.
And then who has the new Fairfield location? The one that's at the old
That's just-
grocery store?
Yep, separate owner.
Can you try to get the data for that from that one, or that you guys compete against each other?
You can,
I'm sure she'd give it to me.
Bob can get it.
That'd be great.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I can ask her.
That'd be great. Thank you.
Goddard may have number. I mean,
Look, one thing that you also have to remember here is, even if we have 152 kids, even if we're at 100% capacity and we have 152 kids enrolled, you have to keep in mind that's not 152 pickups and drop-offs, because we are taking children that are infants and we have them there until they're 5 years old. So, it's 5 years that they're there. So very often we have many families that have 2. I don't know if we have anybody with 3.
We do.
We do. So, 152 children is not 152 cars. It's probably 100 cars. And that's assuming everybody shows up. And on any given day, there's always somebody who's sick or not there for whatever reason. So, on any given day, it's probably somewhere between 90 and maybe at most 100 cars that, that are going in. So if we tell you, at most.
At most.
So, if we're telling you 34 in an hour, I mean, that's a big chunk of that. And that's
and actually, that's 34 children.
Okay.
Do you have the
Number of cars.
breakdown of how many siblings in Westport?
Yep, sure. It's 25. It's roughly 25%.
Okay. Time out 1 second.
Very helpful data.
Just record.
Time out. Oh, time out. When are we getting your traffic report?
What's that? I'm sorry?
When are we getting your traffic report?
When we're done going back and forth with Mike Galante, unless you want the preliminary.
I want the preliminary. Because also, everyone's got to remember that, again, we have 65 apartments on your site. We have 106 next door.
computer in the dining room.
I gotta believe a bunch of the people that live in those 2 apartment complexes are gonna walk to the Goddard School. So to the owner's benefit, you're not gonna have 152 drop-offs, right? 152 cars, because you have siblings, and you have to figure out the percentage of who's gonna
And
walk.
transportation.
That's why we did this whole thing about walking. That's why I did that stuff. So we're trying, someone that's looking at this has got to figure all that stuff out. Okay.
Hi, everybody. This is Neil Olinsky with SLR. We just got, as was mentioned, Mike Galante's peer review this afternoon, but by quick glance at it, it looks like he agrees with our trip estimates. So I think our letter from July, that'll give you some sense of the trip numbers. And included in that, I think tables 2 and 3 are counts of the Westport Goddard School from July.
July.
That was when the report was done. That was the initial report. We're going to expand that to address Mr. Galante's comments with some more analysis.
July for a school.
Sorry, what was the question?
All right, hold on, Mike. Mike Galante, we're not gonna get into you tonight, but thank you for listening. I just want to make sure the commissioners get the questions on the table. Jim Rand, can you get your any questions on the table if you have any?
Well, I have the same concern that I had last week. I went to Costco today. The drawing that the applicant put up with the green in one direction and orange in another direction, you have only to go to the Costco parking lot to know that's not going to work. I mean, you're going to drop off a child, and then you're going to be stuck in there for a period of time. I don't know whether it's 30 seconds or it's 3 minutes, but it's not a simple, easy in and out traffic pattern, in my opinion. The second thing I'm concerned about is the route that the car takes, either picking up or dropping off. If it goes up or into the school at the western end of the development, you look at the drawing, again, that yellow and green, whatever it was, drawing, you've got 3 traffic streams all occurring at the same time. There's 3 routes of traffic that encounter one another all at that same spot. And I'm particularly concerned about the afternoon when mom or the caregiver has to go in. A 3-year-old's not going to put on his or her own coat. They're not going to put on their boots when it's raining. Mom or the caregiver is going to have to be in there doing something. So that my guess is that the amount of time consumed between when the car gets there and when the child is back in the car with, safety seat and so on, and mom or the caregiver is ready to start up and depart is it's not going to happen quickly. And when we get either the parking report or the whatever analysis is going to be done on the pickup and drop off, I want to be sure that the experts have done that so that we can satisfy ourselves that in the pickup and drop off, the traffic doesn't back out onto whatever that street is, Heights Road, I guess. And that we have a safe flow of traffic, given that the cargo being loaded and discharged are little kids.
Okay, thanks, Jim.
Yeah. Thanks.
No, we're all on the same page. George, anything to add at this point, sir?
Yeah, no, nothing original. My issues are covered by others. Thank you.
Nothing original. Kara, last word? Anything else to add? We already said everything 3 times. Okay, got it. All right, so we're going to continue this, Bob, because in Micah Galante, we're going to keep you for the next go round too. So at this point, the next meeting we have is the 30th. That's booked, right?
It's fully booked.
We don't have a meeting at this exact point right now in December. So by default, you have to get kicked to January.
Tuesday, January 4th at 7:30 p.m., Bob.
So right now, you're Tuesday, January 4th at 7:30 p.m. If we add another special meeting in December, it would be December 7th, but we haven't added that yet. So we can't give it to you yet because we don't have it.
And I don't think it'll be ready.
Okay.
If I can, just for procedure, if you give us both dates, you can cancel one of them, but if you give us one, I don't know procedurally if you can.
You can't cancel January 4th.
We can't give you December 7th because it doesn't exist.
I know that, but you can say possibly and cancel it if you don't do it. That's really all I'm suggesting.
That's fine. That's fine. We got it. Just leave it. We're gonna leave it the way it is, and then if we add it, we add it. If we don't, now. This traffic report that you have, it wasn't submitted with your application. So can you submit that this week?
Sure.
Whatever it is, because I've never seen it.
I've never seen it.
You've never seen it either.
No.
Okay. All right. So send that thing in. All right. So with that said, we're gonna move on to the next item.
The hearing is continued to Tuesday, January 4th, 2022, 7:30 p.m. If anyone from the public is here tonight, you're welcome to submit letters or emails to the office. We will get that all to the commission between now and then, and we will take public comment at the January 4th, 2022 meeting.
Correct. An additional public comment. Okay. Great. Thank you, everybody. We're gonna move on to the next item. All right, next item. Next item on the agenda.
That's going to be open and immediately.
Okay, we're gonna go to Pratt.
Yeah.
All right. Commissioners, can I make a motion to adjust the agenda? We want to, I want to move 12 Pratt to right now. Adam, can you make the motion to adjust the agenda, amend the agenda? Adam, make the motion. I need a second. Karen, make the second. Okay. All those in favor? Great. We're going to move 12 Pratt up right now in the agenda. And I'm going to read it into the record. Coastal site plan review number 365, flood stem prevention application number 418, land filling and regrading application number 519, Gilbert Anne Holmes, 12 Pratt Island. Proposal to construct in addition to the south side of the existing patio and to perform related site development activities within regulated areas. The 0.4 plus or minus acre subject property is located on the west side of Pratt Island, approximately 1,150 feet south of its intersection with Nearwater Lane, and is shown on Assessor's map number 55 as lot number 120 in the R1 zone. Chairman, what do we got?
We're going to open this agenda item and immediately continue it to Tuesday, November 30th, 7:30 p.m., 2 weeks from tonight. It's going to be via go-to meeting.
So if anybody's here for 12 Pratt Island, that's just been moved, opened and moved and continued to the Tuesday after Thanksgiving. Okay. Next item on the agenda. Continuation of public hearing regarding subdivision application 630, land filling and regrading application number 517, Irrevocable Trust for the Descendants of Eugene G. Bewkes III, 92 Half Mile Road. Did we open this one?
Doug, are you handling this one?
Bob was supposed to be handling it. I'm not sure why he got off.
I thought we opened it last week.
We did open it last week.
We did, and we continued right away.
All right, so I'm gonna read the rest of the thing because I don't really remember reading it. Proposal to divide
This is a 2-lot subdivision at the corner of Hollow Tree Ridge Road and Half Mile Road. You have in your packets a copy of the EPC comments on this application. There's a small amount of wetlands in the southwest corner of the property, a little brook and stream. You can see that the EPC is likely to approve the application at an upcoming meeting, either next week or the week after. And Bob Maslin's here with Doug DeVesta to talk to you a little bit about how the drainage will work. There's an eastern lot and a western lot, and they've designed the subdivision. It's on septic, public water, I believe, and they're going to run through how this complies with the regulations.
Fantastic. Looks like we have Mr. Maslin again, or is that Doug DeVesta?
No, that's me.
Fantastic. Mr. Maslin, welcome, sir.
Yes, for some reason I got kicked out of the meeting and I might have missed part of the introduction.
You didn't miss anything.
I had to like redial into it. But anyway, for the record, Robert Maslin, I represent the applicant. Doug DeVesta is with me, the site engineer. Alexandra Mock did the wetland restoration and identified the wetland boundaries. I don't think she's on the line here. And so what we're here for is a 2-lot subdivision and land filling and regrading application. And so this is kind of the overview here, 4.9201 plus or minus acres in the 2-acre zone. It's on the corner of Hollow Tree Ridge Road and Half Mile, the northeast corner, as I think the notice mentioned. We're talking about for the lot 1 is the western lot, lot 2 is the eastern lot. Minimal regrading, new retaining wall in the wetland upland review area, which the EPC looked at and seemed to be okay with. The plan is to demolish the existing residence and build a new house. We don't have the specific architecturals yet for that, but that would be in the immediate future on lot 1, and lot 2 would be set aside for some future development down the road. In-ground pool terrace, and obviously the regulated areas are being avoided as much as we can. The house is outside it, just some grading, and the retaining wall a little bit in the upland review area. New stormwater management system that Doug DeVesta has designed for lot 1. Lot 2 is shown with a management system that is feasible. Same thing with the sewer system, or the septic under subsurface sewer septic systems. Lot 1 is going to be built immediate future. Lot 2, there's sufficient areas for the installation of primary septic and the reserve area if necessary. Okay, site plan shows conceptual development of lot 2. As Jeremy mentioned, the EPC looked at this, and so too did Joe Canis, who's issued a report, and there are really no outstanding issues with the site engineering. Some photographs to orient you, aerial of the site. Half Mile Road, Hollow Tree Ridge Road, and the site is outlined in this green color from the GIS map. A little bit of a closer view. There's a little stream here that runs along the southwest portion of the property. There's adjacent wetlands in here, but this is all lawn. It's been lawn for many years. The stream actually connects farther up into a pond off the photograph here, and there's another pond down on the other side of Half Mile Road. Existing pictures of the site, the house, that's the back of the house, the pool house. And you can see the lot is almost entirely lawn with some trees. This is the eastern side looking from Half Mile. And this is a closer view of this kind of ditch here that happens to have water in it, not in very good condition. There's the inlet. This is Half Mile Road and the head wall on the other side. There's a catch basin up here on the close side of Half Mile Road. There's a little kind of a catch basin with the pitch down into it, picking up runoff from the road. This is the other view of it. This white fence is along Hollow Tree Ridge Road, and this is the outlet from where the pipe comes from underneath Hollow Tree Ridge Road. It kind of meanders its way down. And you'll see this is all existing lawn, and just another shot of it. So the survey shows the existing house, pool, existing features, circular driveway, trees along the perimeter, a few trees in the middle. And the contours are in here as well. If I could just go back, the wetland boundary is here. And the upland review area is shown as well. The proposed subdivision map is here. In order to make these rectangles work, this common boundary is at a little bit of a slant. The other thing that we've done here is set this up so we can stay out of the upland review area as much as we can, and that worked out well. Proposed site plans. Doug DeVest, are you here?
Yes, I am.
You want to walk through the site plan quickly?
Sure. For the record, Doug DeVesta, professional engineer, represent the applicant here. As you can see, we're going to use the existing curb cuts on the easterly and then westerly driveways for the proposed houses. As Bob mentioned, the driveway is a horseshoe in front of the house, so we're going to utilize the same entranceways. We are proposing a septic system for each lot that conforms to the current health codes for 6-bedroom houses. We are also providing stormwater management for the roof runoff, the pool area, and the driveways, especially on the westerly lot. That's the lot's going to be developed first, and on the conceptual house on the easterly lot, we showed a house with a potential driveway and some stormwater management as well. That footprint will probably be changed when somebody buys that property. In terms of runoff for the site and drainage, we looked at this property with the house being demolished, the existing house being demolished, and the driveways not in existence. So we're looking at it as a fresh meadow approach as required by the town and the zoning regulations. So we looked at it for the 2, 10, 25, and 50-year design storms, and we provide detention for all storms and show reduction in all runoff. We've also provided water quality volume, which will consist of the water, the area below the control outlet of any of the drainage structures out there. So we're meeting that requirement. So we're providing the first inch of runoff, which is your first flush. And as Bob mentioned, we're proposing a retaining wall on the westerly lot to minimize the grading that would have gone out into the upland review area. So again, we provided some kind of wall there to help reduce the amount of disturbance in the wetlands upland review area. Grading, fairly simple grading. the lot. There's really not much grade differential between the north and the south of the property, except for that one corner of the house on the easterly lot there. The westerly, westerly lot, the easterly lot is pretty flat and pretty level. Erosion control consists of silt fence along the upland review area and around any of the cuts and fills areas for each of the lots. Any tracking pads on each of the driveways going out to Hollow Tree Ridge Road. That's really it. The health department has reviewed our septic areas, and they've agreed or accepted the proposals as feasible areas for the septic systems. Anything else you have? If you have any questions, I'd be glad to answer them.
Thanks a lot. I appreciate that. Okay. The only thing that I noticed is that I'm gonna use the word jammed. You put the house on the easterly lot all the way to the easterly side, just as a depiction, but I would suspect it's going to be there at some point in time.
Right, it'll probably get moved over more towards the center of the property. And I mean, I think I can go through Joe Canis's comments if you want me to go through those right now. I'm going to wait and have Joe go over his and then go back to me, or what?
Why don't you go over his comments now? Because I know
Okay.
we're going to give Joe his questions, and he's going to say yes. But if you want to do that, that'd be great.
Sure. Joe sent us a letter dated September 23rd, and we responded on October 25th, addressing his comments. The first comment really was based on stormwater, about the water course on the westerly lots. Oh, he's got him up here. So, you want to go over that, Bob? You want me to go over comments?
Well, I just put on the slide the items that Joe said make conditions, but
I'd rather have you talk to it, Doug, versus.
Yeah.
Okay. So I'll go through point by point what Joe brought up and our response to it, so you can see it. Bob, can you go back to the rendering, please?
Sure.
There you go. Okay. The first question Joe asked about was the water course on the westerly part of the site there, and the inlet underneath the culvert underneath Half Mile. There's, as Bob depicted one of the pictures he had there was some debris in the inlet end there, and he asked about getting that cleaned out. We have a note on my plan and as well as Alexander Monk's plan, that culvert to be cleaned out. So you can see the right side culvert's got a lot of debris in there. So that'll be cleaned out. Joe also talked about being more consistent with the contour intervals. In some places we showed 2 foot, some places we showed 1 foot. That was revised to have all 2 foot contour intervals throughout the project there.
Can I interrupt for a second?
Sure.
And you can listen to this too. These private culverts that become private and then go public, we'd like to have a maintenance plan on these things so they don't back up and back up downstream. So I'd like to see if you guys consider doing a maintenance plan for this thing.
Sure.
Filed on land records.
Okay.
Can that be part of the regular maintenance plan notice of whatever you call it that we do for developments generally?
That's a Jeremy question.
Operate it instead of having a separate one.
Yeah, let me think about it, Bob.
Okay.
Thanks, Doug.
Okay, so the next question, Joe talked about placing, showing, he was talking about water running from the north to the south across the pool decking or pool patio into the pools on both the easterly and westerly lots. Because the easterly lots are more conceptual, we didn't show a swale behind the pool and the pool patio in that area, but on the westerly lot, which is going to be developed by the owner, we do show a swale behind the pool patio area. Joe talked about on the fourth comment about the sump pump for the proposed house on lot number 1, the westerly lot there. We designed the house so that would be above the groundwater elevation based on our testing in that area there. So that has satisfied his question on that. He asked about the post-development watershed map that was uploaded to the website portal, so that was addressed. On the lot number 1, which is the easterly lot, he mentioned about to verify that the detention system was below the grade of the catch basin on the driveway, and we did confirm that. The outfall, the catch basin grade is at 183, and the detention basin outlet is at 182.5, so we got a half a foot of freeboard in that area. The next question, he talked about the detail of our level spreader. He suggested about putting filter fabric around the level spreader, and we did revise the detail of that. Number 8, he was talking about the catch basin, the Hollow Tree Road that appears to be tied in the drainage system, and asking us about to consulting with DPW, determine if an easement is needed. And we said we'll discuss that with the with DPW and see if they want an easement through that area there. So we'll that be a part of a condition of approval. I think Joe mentioned that in his response back in November. Number 9, he asked, will these detention systems drain within 72 hours, which is part of the stormwater management state DEP requirements. And we provided calculations for all the detention system and determined that they will all drain within 72 hours after rain event. We provided a stormwater operation plans for each of the detention systems. And then number 11, item number 11, A through E, were mostly just comments regarding our drainage system and being consistent with our hydrology calculations and the plans and notes on the plans there. And any of what he was talking about, none of them were any significant heavy impacts to the drainage system that we proposed. And so they were just more comments and making sure things are consistent with the plans and the hydrology calculations. And then he went into talking about the sedimentation and erosion controls, the water service for lot 1, which is the westerly lot, easterly lot, I believe it is. Westerly lot, to avoid some critical root zones closer to Half Mile Road, and we did shift the water line over, so that's not in the critical zone. And the same thing for the utility for lot number 1. We've also the plan we've revised to show trees being removed. I think that was on lot number 2. So we've added that to the plan. We did show some silt fence, additional silt fence on lot 2, which is the easterly lot, downgraded of the 2 stormwater management systems. And then we've revised the contour lines. Excuse me, contour lines 180, 188 on lot number 2 there. Divided, excuse me.
You need to drink water, Doug.
I got some water. Got it. You got me talking too much here, Steve. So we revised the grading for the 190, 182 contours so that it shows more of a slope in that area to make sure the water drains away from the houses. And then on the note, we added a note for lot number 2, which is the westerly lot, that is a safety fence will be installed on top of the retaining wall. And that basically addresses all Joe's comments. And then Joe came back, and Joe go that a little more detail that we've addressed everything. A couple of items he talked about that we couldn't be conditions of approval, which we have no problems with providing that as a condition of approval. That's it for me.
Joe, we're going to hold off on you for a minute, okay? Again, on item 8, and Joe, hopefully you can address this when you talk on item 8, that part about the wherever this catch basin is on Hollow Tree Ridge Road. I just want a maintenance plan on that thing. We really have to be conscious of these new things that, I mean, you're cleaning out this one, probably the first time it's been cleaned in 50 years. We got plans to get these things cleaned. Okay. You're done, right, Doug?
Yes, I am.
And you're Doug, right? You're done, right, Bob?
Let me just see what, I got a few more slides, but I can zip through them real quick. This is all fresh, the native meadow plantings that Alexandra came up with. And then some considerations which are pretty typical. New stormwater, new septic systems, minimal grading, and environmental considerations. This is more of a wetlands slide, but basically we've enhanced quite a bit. We already went through the Joe Canis comments, and then the referrals. Darren really didn't have much to say. The biggest comment had to do with item 10, refers to the peer review, which we just went through. He's looking for the DEP tracking form, which is a form that Doug, did you do that form yet?
Yes, that has been submitted for both lots.
Yeah, and then the fire marshal's got a comment looking for a new fire hydrant. That's an off-site improvement that really shouldn't be on the developer. There's a hydrant right now on the corner of Hollow Tree and Half Mile. It's right there. I'm not sure why a 2-lot subdivision would require or why this would even be an issue. And then health and traffic authority, no issues. One of the things that Darren mentioned was there's this little area here on the FEMA map, and he thought, well, this might be a flood zone. It's a zone, but it's left over from the old mapping when they used to show flood zone C, and this was shown as flood zone X, which based on the contours and what's there, it's really hard to believe it's really even a flood zone X. Today's mapping shows anything that's not in flood zone A, a floodway, or V is X automatically. So the whole lot is in flood zone X. So this is really a non-issue. This is the old map. As I said, it shows flood zone X. All the white area is flood zone C, which is flood zone, not a hazard zone, and it happens down here. So that was really in response to Darren's point. This is off the FEMA website, more for educational purposes for you guys than anything else, and I didn't want to leave that on that comment unaddressed. So anyway, that's it. Now I'm finished. This complies with all the regulations. The lots comply. The new house complies with setbacks. There's no impacts resulting from the grading. There's a planting plan. We talked about clearing out the culverts, and that's can be part of the drainage maintenance plan on lot number 1, and everything for lot 2 is just conceptual at this point. So it all complies, and we ask that you approve it. Happy to answer any questions.
Hey, Bob Maslin, I don't mean to break your heart, but this issue of the fire hydrant came up before. It came up with regards to the Donahue's request for a 2-lot subdivision on Hollow Tree Ridge Road, right near here.
Mm-hmm.
Ultimately, Bob Bush acquiesced and said you didn't have to do it. If Bob Bush wants it, I'm not going to overrule Bob Bush.
There's no regulation that requires it. It's an off-site improvement that's not required under subdivision laws. I think it's overkill. The hydrant's down here on the corner, and we're talking about 500 feet. I think
is there a hydrant on Half Mile?
Like even off. I don't think this hydrant is even in front of this site. But go ahead.
Is there a hydrant on Half Mile?
Yes, it's down farther.
No, you're showing the one on Hollow Tree. Is there one on Half Mile?
Yes, it's down farther. It's down around this area somewhere.
All right, I'm not overriding Bob Bush.
I'm not either.
Either you work it out with Bob Bush and leave the hearing open, or we close the hearing.
I'll close the hearing and we'll see what happens.
Okay.
I'm not, I mean, he
If
doesn't.
we
it's
close
like-
the hearing,
no. Sorry?
that, if we close the hearing tonight, that recommendation for a hydrant.
But we have to decide if we're gonna close the hearing or not. He doesn't
No,
decide.
I'm saying if, I just want to understand.
Right.
For my own I want to understand, so, for myself, if we close the hearing and that recommendation from Bob Butch is out there, that's something we have to consider.
Yeah,
Yes.
Sorry.
Thank you.
Okay. All right. That's my main question for Bob. Let's go around the horn. Let's go with Jim Rand. You want to go first? Any questions on this application?
I pass there every day. I have no problems with the application.
All right. Adam, any questions?
No, I took a look at the site today, actually, and I don't have any issues with it either.
Okay. Jeff Paul, you good? You want to comment on, as a fireman, you want to comment on the fire hydrant idea?
Well, I mean, 500 feet is kind of long. Once you connect that 5-inch and you've got to drag it 500 feet, and then up one of those driveways, it's even further, and then it's just loss of pressure. That's probably what Bob's concern is. But I'm not going to speak for Bob, and I'm not going to decide for Bob either. So.
All right. Okay. Who else? George Riley?
No problems. Thank you.
Okay. Kara?
I think my only concern, other than the fire hydrant, which obviously safety is an issue, and I'm very familiar with that area, is the culvert and the issue of that waterway, and making sure with additional with additional density on it, that it's being maintained and not going to cause downstream problems, or that there will be, blockage, leaves, whatever. I think making sure that the waterway and the culverts maintained is really important, given the issues we've had in town of late, and a lot of it was due to a lot of the waterways and culverts on private property.
Sorry, Kara, you finished? I apologize. You good, Kara? Okay. Joe Canis. Welcome, sir.
Thank you.
I think Doug DeVista stole some of your thunder, but please go ahead. You reviewed it.
Yeah, he sure did. For the record, Joe Canis, engineer in the state of Connecticut, retained by the commission for the stormwater management and sediment erosion control review of the application. I did a field visit with staff on September 21st. I issued my first comment letter on September 23rd that Doug went through, and I responded with a letter after Doug first response to my comments. That letter in your files is dated November 4th. And my conclusion was that the application, based on the information provided by the applicant, conforms to the town's zoning regulations for stormwater management and sediment erosion control. I agree with Doug with the responses. I thought they were clear, well thought out, and addressed my concerns. There were some minor changes made to the plans that I felt were necessary for me to make that determination. So I'm satisfied with the changes that have been made. There are, I believe, 3 comments that I think can be addressed as potential conditions of approval.
What are those 3 comments?
Okay. And I think Bob might have had them up on a slide, but I'm going to go through here my letter just so I can flag those. One of them was about defining the overflow grate elevations on lot number 2. My understanding, that lot will be coming back in the future. That's just conceptual. It'll have a more site-specific design in the future. So I'm okay with that as being a potential condition. There was another one about the catch basin on Hollow Tree Road. There's a catch basin there. A pipe comes from that catch basin and discharges into that stream. My question on that, if there was an easement or not, whether or not that requires an easement, I think it's a more of a legal question than an engineering question. You know, as an engineer, we prefer to have easements on those, you know, just like lines and things being well defined. But I understand it's been there for quite some time, and it could also be viewed as the town as having a prescriptive easement over that also. I've encountered that as well. So I think that's more of a legal question than an engineering question at this point. And then the final one was a comment, utility service to lot number 1. Apparently I did miss that. It is shown on the plans.
Okay. All right. So how do we? Go ahead. Barry's got a question, Bob.
Bob, are you saying there's already a fire hydrant on the subject property?
Doug?
Yes,
Can you just tell us where it is, please?
I believe it's down in the vicinity of the intersection, just west, or excuse me, east of the intersection of Hollow Tree and Half Mile on the north side of Half Mile.
It's shown on the survey.
Yeah, it's not on the survey. I'm not sure why. Because well, they don't even show the edge of the pavement on the north side of Half Mile Road. But my recollection and dealing with the Donahue subdivision, there was a hydrant right there on the corner of Half Mile and Hollow Tree.
It's down along in here, right? Off the site.
Yeah, but it's further to the east there, Bob, from your cursor, right around there someplace.
Survey I missed it?
Sorry.
I mean, I'm not putting this thing up for, you know, my recommendation if the fire department hasn't signed off on it. What about this stormwater management maintenance plans? What do we do about that?
I would have to work on something, continue it to the 30th and just, we'll get details on the hydrant. We'll get details on the maintenance of the culvert. And those will be the only 2 items, unless someone's here from the public with comments.
Okay. Okay, let's open up to the general public. Is anybody in the general public like to speak to this application? If you're here, you can turn on your camera, turn on your sound, raise your hand, throw something in the chat box. Do we have the chat box that exists anymore?
Yeah.
Okay. Nobody? We expect anybody?
No.
Okay. Okay. With that said, commissioners, I would like to keep this thing open so we can figure out what's going on with this fire hydrant and make sure we have a proper maintenance plan for these culverts and drains and things that have potential blockage. Does anybody have a problem with that? Okay. All right, Chairman. Well, let's get it on the survey then.
What is it?
There it is. Okay,
The
you
fire
got it too. Yeah.
There's your culvert, and fire hydrant's right here, and the fire hydrant's off site. That's why it's not there, why it's not on the survey.
Okay. Let's get it on the survey and get Bob Bush to say okay.
Okay.
What date? November 30th?
If you can fit it on November 30th, do it November 30th. If not, it's got to go to January, unless we had a meeting in December.
If the commission's okay adding a meeting December 7th, we'll put it on for December 7th.
How long does it take to get on the survey? Can you get on the survey in 2 weeks to get on the survey? It takes 2 days.
It takes 2 days if you have nothing else going on. Yeah.
Right.
Surveyors.
Yeah. Bob.
Yes.
We can keep this open until November 30th. If you think you could figure out, get it on, get the hydrant on the survey and get Bob Bush to say okay.
Yep, I will work on that.
Or
Yeah.
else we can go to January.
No, we could do that.
Okay, so we'll
Okay.
say,
Those two issues. Okay.
which is it's
The
the,
maintenance plan from Doug.
Yep.
Hydrant identified, shown. If there's any others that you can help get Bob satisfied, there might be others in the area or whatever.
yeah, okay, all right, great. We're gonna continue this hearing until Tuesday, November 30th, 7:30 PM. Same bat channel, same bat location. All right, next item on the agenda. Where are we? There we go. Continuation, right? 49 Stony Brook, right?
29 Stony Brook.
Continuation of public hearing regarding flood dam prevention application number 416, land filling and regrading application number 518, Jeffrey Bluestein and Margaret Conopask, 49 Stony Brook Road. I'm reading this. I'm going to read it again. Proposal to construct and replace a bridge over Stony Brook consisting of new framing, decking, and guiderails to provide access to the existing residents on the property and perform related site development activities, including widening of the channel of the brook within the regulated areas. The 3.05 plus acre subject property is located on the west side of Stony Brook Road, approximately 1,000 feet south of its intersection with Leroy Avenue, and is shown as Assessor's map number 19 as lot 28 in the R1 zone. Chairman, what do we got? Or gentlemen, what do we got?
Well, in this case, this is a very unusual circumstance where the September 1st 7.9 inches of rain really washed out the existing bridge to the applicant's residence. Their driveway goes from Stony Brook Road westward over the Stony Brook and gives them access to their property. That washed away on the evening of September 1st. So in the meantime, they've been using a temporary gangplank to get to their house. In the meantime, they've hired structural engineer Tim DeBartolomeo, who has put together a plan showing a replacement bridge in generally the same location. He's had to use caution to make sure that it doesn't obstruct or impact the existing sewer line. But what's very important is making sure that it doesn't affect anyone downstream by providing or creating any constraints that could impact downstream properties in the future or even upstream properties. So it's a very delicate matter that Tim's been working closely with Darren Elstefine, the Assistant Director of Public Works. Darren's a professional engineer. He's also been working closely with Rick Talamelli, who's the new Environmental Protection Officer in our office. Again, we've been trying to work with Tim to make sure everything's buttoned up. It's essential that this thing be done right. So that's why we continued the hearing the first time, is to make sure all the T's are crossed, the I's are dotted, that all the necessary studies and analyses have been done. The EPC is going to be looking at this at a special meeting, possibly next week, and have to keep this moving along. As you can imagine, the existing residents have not had vehicular access to their property for well over 2 months now, and it will take at least a few months once they get the necessary approvals to build the bridge. So Tim DeBartolomeo from Sound Engineering Associates is here to describe the design of the bridge, how he's designed it, why he's designed it a certain way, how it's not going to cause flooding impacts, any associated regrading, tree removal. Doug, Tim, take it away.
You're muted, sir. Rookie move. That's okay. You're still muted.
I had a window up there for a second to try and share.
There you go.
Okay. Thank you. For the record, Tim DeBartolomeo with Sound Engineering Associates representing the applicant. I have with me tonight Len DeAndrea from DeAndrea Engineering and Surveying, and Carolyn Matthews from William Kenny Associates. If there's any questions for them. So as Jeremy described, the bridge was taken out on September 1st. I do have I can share some photos. Can you see this?
Yeah, we can't see it yet.
No? Let's see.
Does someone have to give him access to share screens?
Bear with me. It's
You should be a presenter, so you should be able to share your screen.
the share button is not highlighted, so I can't really press it.
Let's see.
There we go. Yeah, I don't know. It doesn't seem to let me want to share right now. Here we go. Can you see this screen now? Can you see the photos I put up?
You had it for a second, then it went away. There it is. Got it.
Oh, okay. Okay. So just so you know, some of this damage has been cleaned up, but this was immediately after the event. The bridge deck had collapsed. This is standing on the house side of the river, and this is before the stream. This is before it receded, so the water's fairly high here. And then this is the driveway that goes out toward Stony Brook Road. Here's another photo here. This is looking. This is on a different date. The water's much lower. This is looking upstream. The owners had installed a temporary footpath, temporary footbridge across upstream of the bridge, and again, this is the same structure. The abutment is in the river here, and has partially collapsed on this side. Just another view looking downstream, and then in short order, we managed to put a temporary footbridge across a little bit downstream from the bridge. This is the abutment here. The steel beams had been removed at this point in time, and this is their main way of getting in and out of their house. So not ideal. And right now, while the weather is okay, they're able to deal with it, but it certainly is an impediment on access. They can't get their cars past this area. And this area over here is set up right now as a temporary staging area. This is where they're parking. This is where the deliveries are. They still have to get oil deliveries. And again, they've been at this now for 2 months, and we hope to, just get this thing in the ground as quickly as we can. So that's that. That's that structure. The bridge itself. So right now we have the site set up. The old bridge had a 15-foot span and was about 10 and a half feet wide. What we're proposing is a very similar constructed bridge, new abutments, but we're increasing the span from 15 feet to 20 feet. And we're going to take that 5 feet, and we're going to open up the stream a little bit more to the direction of the Stony Brook Road. This is the grade travels up this way, so it's a little bit higher on this side than it is over here. So the idea is to it's a much better solution to open up the stream over here. It's a bit of a choking point in the stream right now, which I believe was a contributing factor to its collapse. So opening this up by a few feet is going to help matters. And we're also going to take this opportunity, and we're going to widen the bridge so that it's 14-foot clear. That will improve access for emergency vehicles up to the main dwelling, which is over here. So there's the site. The driveway comes from Stony Brook over the bridge here, and we have the main dwelling and a detached garage over here, and then a swimming pool in this area. Another view on this, to better explain. It's a cross section looking through the new bridge, the proposed bridge, the abutments on either side. This hatched area is area that is currently earth and collapsed bridge. So this shows here the original floodway width was 15 feet from here to here, and the proposed floodway width is 20 feet from here to here. So the bridge gets a little bit longer on this side. We've been working with EPC and engineering. We believe we've satisfied all of their requirements, and we hope to have their approval at the next special meeting. Let's see. And that's about all I have right now. I can take any questions. Len can speak to some of the hydraulics if you have any questions regarding that.
We don't need to get into the engineering strength of it, do we?
No,
Where's his land use?
Darren is working with Tim on that. And as I said, Rick Telemelli of our office is working with Tim on making sure all the necessary details are on the final plans and things like that. So that's likely to be a condition of the EPC approval, is some of the final flood elevations, Tim, and I know Rick's talked to you about that, is getting all the details on this. Certainly it's, as I said, a little unique, but I think with us checking everything out and making sure it can hold up.
So yeah, to summarize this, we're replacing the bridge in kind. We're making some minor improvements. We're also, Darren has required us to, as part of the requirement for the application, not Darren specifically, but we had Len's office do a hydraulic study to show that we were not going to impact drainage upstream or downstream. So we've done that. That took some time. So here we are now. Last week, Len's report was submitted. We've made some changes because of that report. We've made some minor adjustments to the bridge design itself, so that was a great exercise to have to go through. So, Len, do you want to speak to any of that those points?
Well, what we had was, hi, this is Leonard DeAndrea, Connecticut professional engineer, and we provided the backwater analysis. But we had a lot of cooperation from the DPW as usual in Darien. And there was a LOMAR, letter of map revision, done back in 2014, which was really very helpful because town of Darien had that complete model. So that really expedited things. We didn't have to rely on FEMA to go and research, archive it out, and send it to us. And using that, there are a number of cross sections already in this bridge area. We supplemented a couple of more, and then we ran the analysis to make sure intuitively we felt it was going to be okay because it was wider. So running that model using the what they call the HEC-RAS, which is the Hydraulic Engineering Center River Analysis System, we came up with the results that demonstrated, yes, what Tim has designed is appropriate. It will not increase velocities and actually has a slight decrease of a couple of inches upstream, no change downstream.
Do we have a maintenance plan for this thing?
I don't think there's anything to maintain. Tim, what would need to be done in terms of maintenance through the years?
Generally speaking, nothing. I mean, short of periodic inspections. The benefit here, and it's a great question, it's a great point. The way this bridge.
Tim, for argument's sake, let's say a swing set gets into this thing, where somebody's lawn furniture off the pool gets stuck under there. That's. I mean, I don't know if we have to, paper the file too much, but that's what I'm after.
I understand what you're saying. I suppose the owner would be amenable to, making sure that the bridge stays clear. When there are storm events, things travel downstream, trees and limbs and all kinds of stuff. So it is, a bit of a responsibility for an owner of a bridge to make sure that stays clear after an event happens.
If I may too, Tim, this doesn't have a center section. Oftentimes we have double barrel culverts and they have a center section in their vertical, and that causes a lot of problems with clogging. This is now 5 feet wider, so in that respect too, there'll be less issue with or concern with clogging as before.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
I guess, Tim, that would be the question is, certainly what happened in this case is this gentleman's bridge washed away and ended up downstream. Now the guy further down Stony Brook, what Steve's saying is he calls town hall and says, come get Mr. Bluestein's bridge. It's behind my house in the waterway. And so it becomes a town problem. So I think it's one question is documenting that, and it could be a condition of approval, that if something gets clogged or stuck in this area, that it's the responsibility of the property owner to take care of it.
I think that's fine. That's a reasonable condition, and that would be fine to have. Okay.
We have to file it on the land records. Can we do that? Yes. Okay. All right. That's fine. As long as we're all on the same page, that's what we're after, because a lot of these private things got stuck with lawn furniture and chairs and couches and whatnot. And everyone called the town and said, hey, Bob, Gentile, come clean my private bridge. I got clogged with somebody else's stuff. And that's, we're not in the business of doing that.
Understood.
Thank you. Okay. Any commissioners have any questions for this application? It's really engineering and not much land use, because they're just putting back what's there. Anyone who wants to say something, just raise your hand. Okay. Is anybody in the general public like to speak to this application? No. Carrie, you turned your light on. You good?
Yeah, no, I think it's more than just putting back what was there. I think, to your point, it's exactly that. It's engineering, but it's not putting back what was there. The regulations and the standards have, changed dramatically, I think, since this bridge was originally put in place. So I think the burden on the engineers and the homeowners and, all the professionals involved is substantial and substantially more, it's quite different, I think, than what was originally put there. I mean, while it's still a thing that gets you over to the other side, I think in terms of the engineering standards and sophistication and consideration of the waterway, downstream neighbors, and the natural resources, it's considerably different than what was there before.
Let me just speak to that just you can be assured that what is going there, what is proposed to be going there is much more robust than what was there. What was there failed because of certain deficiencies in that bridge. The bridge that was there, you would not build today under current standards. So it's going to be a definite improvement, and it's really an upgrade to what was there, and it's a bit of a blessing.
Yeah, I think what's going to happen, to be honest with you, one second, Adam, is that yours is going to be a model for the rest of the town, because there are a number of these in town, right? And people may have, another bridge that was built in their house that's from 1939. And they're if they didn't get wiped out now, they're gonna get wiped out the next phone call. And I'd rather have them call you tomorrow versus calling you after the storm.
Do I need to call my patent attorney?
I would do that if I was you. Because I mean, you're going to be the model. You're the guinea pig. So if we get this right now, you know, you're going to get yourself a lot of business. But you're going to say, call that guy.
Thank you.
Adam, anything to answer?
Yeah, the only thing I have, which is somewhat unrelated to the bridge, which you know, seems fine, and it's a pretty horrific site if anybody's been down there. The temporary parking area to the left of the driveway, the quarters where the new footbridge or the temporary footbridge that you've installed, is there anything that we need to restore that back to what it was? It looks like you guys laid down like a bunch of rocks to sort of make it a kind of a parking-ish area.
Yeah, so we did that in prep for what's going to come, right? So we're going to have construction equipment, we're going to have staging, we're going to have excavation, and that's all going to get restored. We have Carolyn Matthews here from William Kenny Associates. She's I don't know if she's on, but William Kenny's office is preparing a planting plan for EPC. So what was there was lawn. It was sort of a not golf course manicured lawn, but it was more of a woody type of lawn, and it's going to get restored back to that. Obviously the stream banks are going to be disturbed during construction, so there was ground cover there that all has to get reestablished. That's going to get replanted. So we're working with the EPC's office to make sure that they're satisfied with the plant list, and I see Carolyn is here, so if she wants to speak to that, she can.
We can make that, put that in the approval. We did get the letter from EPC. It says we're looking at it. Like, we didn't get the planning plan yet, but we can just put in our approval that it's condition of restoration based on the EPC's plans.
Great.
Yeah. So, I mean, Carolyn, I don't mean to steal your thunder, but you can present to EPC versus us. Is that okay? You're muted.
She's good. Yeah.
She's good. We don't have anything to look at anyway. That's okay. All right, good. I got all the commissioners. Anybody in the general public want to speak to this application? I think we already did that, right? Okay, motion to close. We're good? Okay, internet motion to close. Jeff Ball makes a motion. Adam makes a second. All those in favor? Great. We will decide on this on November 30th.
Might be December 7th.
Oh, okay. We're going to try to fast track you as soon as we can, Tim, and Len and Carolyn.
Thank you very much.
Okay. Right now, I think you're on the docket for, I don't know.
November 30th or December 7th.
Got it. Okay. Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you.
Thank you, ladies and ladies. Moving on, next item on the agenda. We got to wrap this as we can. Where are we? Coastal site plan review number 364, flood demonstration application number 417. Gabriel and Katherine Oliverio at 49 Goodwives River Road. Propose to construct, in addition to the existing residence, expand the rear patio with associated stormwater management and perform related site development activities within regulated areas. The 0.26 plus minus acre subject property is located on the west side of Goodwives River Road, approximately 1,165 feet north of its intersection with Sunswyck Road, and is shown on Assessor's map number 49 as Lot 8 in the R1 zone. Jeremy, Fred, what do we got? We got Harry here tonight. Wow.
Yeah, this is a proposal to expand an existing house on Goodwives River Road. It's a small historic house. They're looking to do an addition out the back, which will have a basement and then a patio in the backyard as well. If you've been to the site, you've seen the, I'll call it the wire mesh fence, which is right at the top of the slope. And then the backyard slopes down into, we'll call it Goodwives River or Gorham's Pond. The EPC has looked at this. I think last we left it, Harry, they had, we're about to approve it on December 1st or something like that. The EPC's concerns were the Yeah, you have a memo dated November 15th from the EPC. The EPC's concerns were the new addition out the back will have a basement that will get pretty far down. The question for Harry was, will there need to be a sump pump? And how much water will be pumping out to keep that basement dry? And it's going to a level spreader in the backyard. Will the level spreader be pointed to the neighbor's property? Or is it just going to be at grade and down Gorham's Pond? EPC is also looking at possible plantings along the slope to better stabilize the existing slope. In this case, the existing fence really prevents any encroachment or construction access close to the water or down the slope. It's really a nice barrier to have when they do the construction work for the patio and the additions. And you can kind of see that from Harry's plan. Harry Rocheville, professional engineer, McCord Engineering, is here to explain the application.
Harry, take it away, sir. Where are you? There you go. Welcome.
Thank you, everyone. Harry Rocheville, professional engineer, state of Connecticut, with McCord Engineering, representing the Oliverios. As Jerry mentioned, subject property is 49 Goodwives River Road, about a quarter acre, located on the west side of Goodwives River Road. Property generally slopes down to the river, fairly flat in the developed portion of the property, but as Jeremy mentioned, there's a cable fence shown right here that's going to serve as our limited disturbance, and that's when the property starts to drop off down towards the river. We are here because we are within the coastal site, the coastal area management zone, and also within the FEMA flood zone. Flood elevation on the property is elevation 10.7. You'll see that cable fence is actually above the flood zone, really. The 10 elevation is here, 12 is here, so all the work will be outside of the flood zone. We included a spot elevation here to sort of depict that, elevation 11.0, adjacent to the addition, which is, of course, above 10.7, and there's no grade change proposed around the addition. So everything is pretty much going in at existing grade, including the proposed patio. There is a patio there now, but it is being enlarged and squared off. If I zoom in a little bit, you can see the old patio here. So it's really being squared off and extended just a little bit. There's a stormwater management system on site now, located right here. During our site investigation, sorry, my computer's freezing up. I don't know if it's doing the same for you. But regardless, when we were doing our site investigation, we realized that the detention system was here and we impacted by the addition. It was not installed per the previously proposed plans back in 2013, I believe. So we are proposing to a new system to replace the existing system, as well as mitigate any increase in runoff from the proposed addition. It'll store the first inch of runoff, as this is within a coastal area that drains directly to Goodwives River. So the new stormwater management system here will be at the same bottom elevation as the existing one, in the same receiving soils. And it should operate as intended as the existing one was, and it'll store the first flush volume for the entire property, driveway, existing residence, proposed addition, and proposed patio. As Jerry mentioned, comments from EPC were to investigate the basement where the addition is going. You'll see the basement is fairly low, elevation 5.9. We did a test hole right here in the center of the addition, down to 9 feet deep, and did not hit any groundwater. So that puts us approximately 1.5 feet to 2 feet below the basement slab. So although we are proposing a sump pump for the basement footing drains, we do not anticipate that we'll see receive water regularly. As we went during the wet season, dug down 2 feet below the basement slab, and did not hit any groundwater or any signs of modeling, which would be the seasonal high groundwater levels. That sump pump will discharge adjacent to where the existing footing drain lets out for the existing residents, and we will improve that discharge location with riprap. Jeremy also mentioned that it points to the neighbor's property line, and we'd be more than happy to throw a 22 bend on it and point it towards the river, but the reason for that is it's going with the topo. The water is going to flow that way anyway. So we have no problem changing that during the planning and zoning permitting process and building permits if need be, per Darren. Also, he mentioned the planting plan requested by EPC. Actually, yesterday, Kate Throckmorton of Environmental Land Solutions met with the homeowners, and I believe also met with Rick Talamelli, I believe via a conference call, and they're all on the same page on what needs to be done. So they'll be putting a planting plan together. The hope is to get that in for the next EPC meeting, but that is approaching quickly. So it'll likely be a condition of approval, but I will leave that up to EPC. One more item on of interest for you guys would be a retaining wall over here. Currently, there is a sort of a boulder wall here that I believe was just sort of a when the existing house was constructed, sort of where they put their excavated soils for the basement. So the homeowners would like to sort of remove the mound here, move the boulder wall back. The wall will have a maximum height of 4 feet, conforming to zoning regulations. So we will be removing some material here. It'll be trucked off site. So we will be, I guess, theoretically removing earthwork in the floodplain, definitely not increasing any material within the floodplain. Construction access will be off of the existing driveway. They removed a portion of an existing stone wall, and silt fence will be placed in front of that cable fence that will act as a limited disturbance to protect the river and any downstream water courses or any downstream neighbors during construction. I'd be happy to open it up to you guys for any questions that you may have, but that essentially wraps up my presentation.
Are you still going, Harry, or you cut out?
No, I just wrapped up. Did you? I hope you heard everything.
No, I heard everything. You break it up a little bit.
Oh, sorry about that.
Okay, 2 questions. One is that generator is at the right height, correct? You got a foot above the.
Oh, yes. Sorry about that. I didn't mention that. Generator pad elevation 12.0, flood zones 10.7, so more than a foot above the flood elevation.
Okay.
Thank you for mentioning that.
That's what we're here for, man. That 22-inch or 22-degree turn on the pipe, I think that's probably a good idea. It might be more for optics than anything, because I'd rather have the neighbor would probably rather have it pointing towards the river versus pointing towards our house.
We have no issue with that.
If you could do that, we'll just make that a condition of approval. That'd be great.
No problem.
And are you going to put the moving of that existing wall to the other wall? That makes sense. Are you putting a fence back where you took out the PVC fence for the driveway access, or no? Or we don't know?
It was a dry lake stone wall. The stones are still on site. I'm sure they're going to put it back after construction. But yeah, so that was located right here next to the garage.
Right, and that existing PVC fence is gone too, because you already took it down. I guess I was just asking if you put the PVC fence back too.
I'm not aware of any PVC fence that was removed. There was just a stone wall.
Is that an underground pipe that I'm looking at? I got you.
Yes, that's the PVC pipe from the trench drain at the garage that collects the driveway runoff and routes to a yard drain right here. Yep.
Got it. Okay, I'm good. I got it. All right. Commissioners, any questions, comments for Harry on this one? Jim Rand, you're good?
No, I'm good. Thank you.
Okay, Adam, you're okay? Harry Gately, give me a thumbs up. You're good? Yep. Jeff's good. George Riley?
Yeah, I'm just, I took a look at the site, and boy, there isn't much room to get around the existing structure. You guys are going to be using some small equipment, I guess, huh?
Yeah, we actually got a fairly sized machine along the garage here. I believe the opening ended up being 14 feet wide when it was all said and done, from the stone wall to garage corner, and we were able to get a medium-sized excavator back there. So they should have plenty of room to get the machinery they need to construct an addition of this size.
Okay, and that's, anything You guys figure that out. Good. Thank you.
Is anyone in the general public like to speak to this application? We have a call number. We have a caller for this. We don't know who that is. Okay. Jeremy, anything we're missing? Fred, anything we're missing? Okay. It looks like you're good, Harry. We're ready to close if you're ready.
I'm ready. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you, sir. Entertain a motion to close this application. Jim Rand makes the motion, looking for a second. George Riley makes a second. Jeff makes a third. All's in favor? Fantastic. Your application, your hearing's closed. And we'll deliberate on this sometime.
And then aim to decide it December, if we have a special meeting. December 7th.
Okay, so you think we'll December,
Time permitting, yes.
Okay, great. We're gonna try to fast track you again too, Harry.
Appreciate it.
Thanks,
Have a good
man.
night, everyone.
You too. Fantastic. All right, that basically ends our public hearing. If you don't mind, folks, I'd like to go back into a general meeting for about 30 seconds. All in favor of general meeting? Great, fantastic. Okay. Fred sent out around an email today to see if we could add another special meeting on Tuesday, December 7th. Historically, we don't have meetings in December, but usually we end up having a meeting in December. Is everybody okay with that? It's gonna be virtual again. We just gotta clear up some stuff. You okay, Jeff?
I have another meeting scheduled. I mean, I can be late or I can come early and stay for a half hour. And I got to jump out for a half hour, 45 minutes, and I can be back on. So it depends on how long it's going to be. So we're looking at like 3.5 hours. I'll be in and out.
No,
but more in.
Yeah. We need a quorum, so we only need 4 out of 6 of us for one to get it done. But a lot of this stuff is important. I think everybody wants to be there. We can start it earlier at 7 o'clock if that helps you at all.
No, I mean, stick with 7:30. I'll just jump out to what I need to do and then just jump back on.
Okay.
If that's all right.
Okay, I think it's okay. Carrie, you okay with that?
I also have a commitment that night, but I can see if I can find someone to cover with the boys. I can see what I can do.
Okay.
I didn't think we're having a meeting, so I had something planned with my children.
Yeah, no, because football's over now. Turkey ball's over, so you got more fun stuff to do.
Travel basketball and lacrosse, buddy.
Doesn't end. Jim, you okay?
Yeah, as long as we get some Christmas cookies or something like that.
We'll have Carol late. We'll have
I
Carol.
make better cookies, but I can make burnt crappy cookies, but they will not be like Jen's.
Adam, you okay? Fantastic. All right, meeting December 7th. Okay, anything else we wanted to talk about? No, that's it, right? No. All right, guys. I appreciate everyone staying late. It's another 3-hour meeting. We're gonna try to move these things along. And the other thing is we got to make sure that all the general public stays nice. There was a lot of stuff in the news the past week about what happened in Rockland County. We're not having that around here. Okay, with that said, entertain a motion to close. Motion to adjourn. Jeff Paul makes the motion. George Riley makes the second. All in favor? Great. Enjoy a great night, everybody. We'll see you again soon. Thank you.